Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am your host, Glenn of House Dog. Podcast episode title for today, That Is What I Do. Recording date, December 9th, 2018. We are talking about Season 6, Episode 2, Game of Thrones title, Home. Listen to Drinks and Knows podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public's Android and iOS app, everybody benefits. So I am Glenn of House Dog. I'm here as always with Ben, aka Sly of House McLean.
Choose me.
Okay, and we are also with Lucan of House Blackmead.
Well, hello. Howdy.
Our first time watcher on the wall, Abby, aka Gertie of House Condensation.
Hello, Glenn.
And special guest for today, Crowfood's daughter of House Demuth.
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Welcome.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Nice to have you.
This show and all of our shows at the podcast that.com are produced with the love and support of the wonderful imaginary people. Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. All right, so this part of the show, we like to send a shout out to a friend of the show. And our friend of the show is our special guest for today. So, Amanda, if you want to tell us about your current projects and where people can learn more about what you're up to.
Okay, great. And I've got a question. Is anybody hearing like a echo or a reverberation going on? Because I've got like double audio feed going through my.
Did you turn the volume off your YouTube stream?
It's not on. I haven't. I don't. Oh,
gotcha.
It's not on. So okay. So I'm gonna try and go with this. So hello, my name is Amanda. I go by Crowfood's daughter, and I do have a YouTube channel. It's called The Disputed Lands, where I talk about a lot of Ironborn mythology, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, no problem. It's our pleasure. All right, Abby, you were up on previous episode recap.
Perfect. At Castle Black, Davos and friends watch over Jon, and Ed goes to find help. Thorne wants them to surrender, and Mel is old as fuck. At Castle, no. What's that place called? Winterfell. That's the one. Miranda, Theon, and Sansa all take big leaps, and Brienne pledges her services again. Cersei welcomes home her dead daughter, and the sand snakes take care of the prince. Tyrion and Varys stroll through the streets of Meereen. Jorah and Dario find a ring. Dany silently takes it all in as she goes in for the kill with a big name drop. And Arya takes a blind beating.
Okay, episode number, Season 6, Episode 2, episode duration, 54 minutes. It was aired on May the 1st, 2016. Director, Jeremy Podeswa, and writer, Dave Hill. Benji, go ahead with your episode description.
King's Landing. Jaime advises Tommen. Tyrion demands good news, but has to make his own. At Castle Black, the Night's Watch stands behind Thorne. Ramsay Bolton proposes a plan.
All right, perfect. We'll stay tuned to see if that all goes down. Next, we're going to go to Quill and Tankard Pub Trivia. This is where I'm going to ask a question, and everyone else is going to guess. Our special guest, Crowfood's daughter, if she gets it right, the point is going to go to Abby, so Abby has a chance to double her points.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody gets it right, then I get the point.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And I do have a question. So Melisandre is seen resurrecting Jon's body in the episode. How many stab wounds does Jon have?
Oh, shit.
I don't know. We're going to try and guess this.
Luke, you want to play that little?
I'll play the
Or
little
is it-
ditty.
Dang, I was just gonna say the same thing, Lukey.
the ditty?
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right, a thumbs up. Everyone have something written down.
Yes.
We're ready.
Ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, go. So, Jon Snow has 7 stab wounds.
Woo!
So it looks like that Benji has 7, correct? Luke has 5. Sorry.
I mean, I remember counting them on the actual episode. I didn't count the stab wounds. I counted the stabs. Apparently, there's a couple bonus stab wounds in there somewhere.
Abby and our special guest, Pro Food's daughter, have 7, so Abby gets 2 points. Look at this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Yes.
It's a new day.
And we're like right at the beginning of the season. I might be winning this season.
Right, getting up to
Already.
a big lead already.
Yeah. Woo.
Well, no, she's
Doing
tied with
good.
me.
Shut it.
Nice job, Ab.
Good job.
Good job.
Thanks.
Good job,
All right.
everyone. Everyone involved did a really, really good job here.
Can I? The stab wound to his face? Well, I don't know. Was it just a slice to his face?
No. So, let me see. Benji, would you happen to have a cap of this or no?
Probably.
Sorry. Well, I guess it's
'Cause
no.
there's,
Not
like-
the
I'll
first
jump
place we're
ahead.
going.
Let me.
I apologize. I just was wondering, even as I was watching it, I'm like,
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
at
kind
it's
of-
at the
very
very
end.
end. So
Well,
Yeah.
basically, like last season, because there's like online, I was reading that there was 6 people that stabbed him or something like that. But then you look at his body, and there's like 6. There's 1 at the bottom left, 2 right here, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 right at that crescent shaped one is the one that's kind of weird. It's not really what they're saying is not really doesn't look like a dagger
mhm.
per se.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
see
count
it.
7 of them.
That's why I was like, I think the props are wrong because I remember
Yeah.
counting when it actually happened for the amount of stabs that there were.
Yeah, it said 6 stabs.
I remember 5. That's all right.
I just when I was watching it today, the one on his face is like almost crescent shape, and I'm like, how does somebody stab through somebody's face like that to make the same shape of a wound? I don't know.
His face was probably moving when the
He
stab-
sliced
A
him.
glancing
Yeah.
blow.
Yeah.
Fair
There you
enough.
go.
Oh.
So really quick, what's everyone drinking?
Oh. I got my legendary Bojangles iced tea. It's bow time, baby.
It's bow time,
Oh,
baby.
knows.
Oh, I miss Bojangles. Oh, have some for me.
Oh yeah.
Amanda, what do you got there?
So I'm drinking the classic right here. I have to go to work, so I'm having a Coke.
Have a Coke?
I'll take a Coke. Glennie and I have Omangang Brewery's Queen of the Seven Kingdoms Sour Blonde Ale Blend. It is heart. It is sour, baby.
Ben, you got something?
Yeah, I got O'Fallon Brewery Winter Lager Dunkel Down.
Dunkle down,
We've got
baby.
a Dunkle down on this episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dunkle down, let's say that we move on to the episode.
Man, Segway King.
All right. So, first off, we're gonna, I guess, say the opening credits. We have the Big D, King's Landing, Winterfell, Wall, Bravos, and Marine. Any notes there, or just go past?
Pretty basic.
I don't know. Benji does have a screen cap of something
It
here. Whatever this is supposed to be showing us.
Are we actually
I think it was
Doing
just
the
quick hit like a tester that I
dist-
just didn't care about.
the description? Like, have we gone through and actually put the right ones in?
What do you mean? Yeah, that's the actual cities.
No, you're wrong.
Did I miss one?
Yeah.
What'd I miss?
Pike, maybe?
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
you're
you're
right.
correct. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Mhm.
There
Man,
you go.
nice,
Yeah,
good
good.
call.
Thanks.
And so remind me what Big D stands for, by the way.
Peter Dinklage. He's the lead titled actor. Basically, we put up whoever has the top billing.
Okay.
It's basically been him, except for like one episode since season one.
We used to
Okay,
say
great.
Peter
Like Big
Dinklage,
D.
and then it became
Tell me
the
more.
Dink, and then Big D. Now, apparently.
What's going on here? Okay.
Big
Nice.
D. All right, moving on. Weirwood Caverns is where we're going to start. We have Bran, Hodor, Mira, Free ID Raven, Leaf, Young Ned, Benjen, Lyanna, Old Nan. Bran continues his lessons in the Weirwood. Has shown some familiar faces in their youth. Mira is bored watching him log on all day. Benjen.
Keep your shield up or I'll ring your head like a bell. I get the feeling that's not the only time he uses that line because we've heard that before. We heard that from John to Bran, or no, John to Ollie, tapping him. And so it's like, okay, so that was a nice callback to, Ned teaching John sword fighting.
All right, Luke.
Yeah, so Bran seems like he's finally getting to see something that he's interested in. This scene here with his aunt and uncle and father as well, and he's kind of forced out of it by the three-eyed raven, and it seems like everything he's been seeing up to that point has been pretty boring. So boring that it couldn't even be on season 5, apparently.
Right.
So I guess he was bored too.
Right. It's like he wanted to stay. Yeah, I think he said, "Can we just stay a little longer?"
No. I also thought it was really interesting they were able to get Sean Bean to record this when he was 15. Like that's pretty neat that they
take some anti-aging pills and stuff like that.
Just really the foresight was impressive.
Yeah, good job by him, Sean Bean. Back. Is that all you got?
That's all I got. Yeah.
All right, Abby.
I wondered. In here, we hear Hodor talking, which is cool, and Lyanna says to him something about like they're gonna fight, and she says like, "Don't worry." I think he looks up when he's going to attack, and Hodor finishes with, and he looks down when he's gonna dodge. I wonder if we can go back and watch like the one episode we saw of Benjen and find any fighting and see if he dodges or like if, I don't know. It would be cool later on to see if we see any fight scenes where he can do these things. That'd be neat.
Be pretty neat. All right,
That'd be pretty neat.
So I noticed that Leaf tells Mira that she's not going to be in the cave forever and that Mira is going to be needed when Bran leaves. So I'm kind of suspicious that Leaf actually might know what's about to, happen in the future. And so, it's interesting because Jojen, he knew, what was going to happen to him. So I'm wondering, does Leaf know what's going on? Does the three-eyed raven know what's going to happen in the future? Is Bran going to learn what's in the future? I think it's very interesting that we're possibly given some possible insight. What does Leaf know?
Right.
That we don't know. So I like.
She knows something.
Yeah, she sounds like she knows something, but she's not telling Mira. She's just saying you're going to be needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, anytime we have like one of these mythical creatures that come into the story, that these old Nan tale type creatures, the children of the forest, giants, dire wolves, all of these things, it's kind of like, what is their real power? And with everything we're also seeing with this in the Weirwood net scene, I mean, and what we've seen Bran be able to do, what we've seen Jojen be able to do, I'm with you. It's interesting to kind of speculate, what does she know, Leaf, and like, is she speaking from personal like sight, or is it just like, oh, I can just tell where this is going, intuition?
Before,
Right, or is it just like intuition?
Yeah, exactly. So I, is this foreshadowing of what's to come? So I think it's a very interesting one, and I do like how they portrayed Leaf, because in the previous episodes they showed the children of the forest as almost just like little miniature kids with up like sticks in her hair, and just like hasn't been combed in about like 5 years or so. So it's nice to actually see them kind of change it to where it's something more in line with something almost like alien like, or a different species altogether. So
Kind of my note a little bit. I kind of started off by saying it's kind of a turning of a new leaf. It's got new kind of recasting of characters, and like the old Leaf looked like like a lost boy or something out of like Peter Pan,
Mm-hmm.
and like this new one looks like some kind of elvish creature or something like that. Methodical. That. But,
Mhm.
What do you guys think of the new characters? They recast the three-eyed Raven as well.
Yeah, I think he's good. I mean, we had one like half of a scene with
Right, exactly.
with
Yeah.
old three-eyed Raven. I don't know if they anticipated. I don't
Placemat three-eyed Raven.
right. Like, how do they not have the same guy for that? But I think he does a good job.
Yeah, and this actor is a really cool actor. I've seen him. I can't think of his name, but he's been in a bunch of different. Like I've seen him in a few different things. He's just a good actor, good solid dude. So I don't know much about the other guy, but I can see if they can get this guy on board, bring him on, kind of like a Charles Dance
This
style.
is like another like year, right after that other guy was in it. So
Right.
they probably just like he probably went off. Well, I'm just gonna do other stuff.
No one's gonna remember anyway.
I didn't. I mean, like I knew who he was, but I didn't know that he had been recast
Right.
or Leaf really either, because it's been so long since I've seen them and I've just wondered about them. And this kind of doesn't really give us much answers. I still don't really. I guess not as in the dark, but it's not like some revelation of what his mission or goal is. Like, yes, he can go back and see stuff, but as far as where we're going with this or what his new job is going to be, I don't really have much new info, but I'm glad to see this stuff again.
It's kind of
Finally.
like I know, right? I was complaining about it all last season,
All the
right?
entire season.
It's kind of like whenever they recast Beric Dondarrion, it was kind of like the first guy didn't really do anything. He was an scene. It doesn't really hurt anything.
Time had passed.
Right.
To see that character.
Mhm. If you're not looking for it, you're probably not going to remember. Like,
but it seems like when something like that happens, they always have I'm Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah.
Just give the viewer
be really clear
Right.
about, hey, we changed this. Understand that we
seen-
know that.
Where's Dario? Where's Dario Naharis?
There he
Like,
is.
we gotta
Oh, yeah.
There's Dario.
There's Dario playing with Grey Worm.
I know. I was completely confused during that whole scene right there. I had no idea what was going on.
I didn't even know for the entire episode we recorded
We
until
it
I
was
listened.
the next episode that she realized.
I didn't make it to the next episode, so I listened to their podcast and then I was like, "Oh, fuck. That's supposed to be that same." What? I'm like, "You're an idiot." Like I'm just So 3 episodes after he'd been in, I was like, "Oh, this is supposed to be the same guy. I get it now." Woohoo.
All right, let's move on. So we're gonna go to Castle Black. We have Davos, Ghost, Thorn, Bacchanali, Night's Watch, Min, 1-1, Ed, Tormund, Wildlings. Thorn comes to collect the corpse. Davos holds steady, and Ed arrives with a big-ass battering ram to relieve the acting commander of his duties. Luke.
Yeah, Ollie would not be one of these quote unquote men that are standing right outside the door. Like, it just does not fit with
Captain.
like they have this whole group of captains and Ollie. Like, just no. I'm okay with him being pivotal in the stabbing, like, okay. Like that I can be okay with, but the scene where they all walk up, no. Like, And then, like, as the scene progresses, he's one of the people that attack Tormund, and it's just like, no, just sit down. Like, just somebody take care of him.
Yeah.
Kids table.
That's one. I wish, Tormund or Ed would have just slapped him. Just fuck off,
They
Ollie.
kind of do. But
Yeah.
And yeah, they basically just show exactly why he should not have been at that door later on.
Abby.
So while I was watching this scene, my daughter walked in right as he gets shot with a crossbow, and so he picks him up and smashes him into the wall, and she dies laughing, like just lost her mind. And she's like, "Hey, Mom, why is that guy so tall?" I'm like, "Well, he's a giant." She goes, "Can we get a giant?" I'm like, "Dude, yes, sure, we can totally." She's like, "He just smashed him right in the wall. It was awesome." It's like, basically, yes. Now leave. I never know what's coming up next, but go. But I don't know. This is when I saw Tormund and Wan come through there, it's like, my friends are here. I was so excited to see him. It's all gonna be good now.
Right in the nick of time, right?
Yep.
Right at the nick at night.
Nick at night. All right, Amanda.
So, when this episode originally first came out and there were trailers for it, they showed the scene where Davos, he says, "I've never been much of a fighter," and he pulls Longclaw out and he says, "Apologies for what you're about to see."
Mm-hmm.
And that was just really iconic. I was completely hyped for this episode just after seeing just that little bit. And so it was nice to kind of return to the episode and see it again, because you never do see Davos fighting. Even with the Battle of the Blackwater, he was just kind of on the boat, and then his boat, catches on fire. And so I was like really wanting to see Davos fight. I really just wanted to see, him fight. But unfortunately, he didn't get to, because John, as we can see, he's got some pretty good plot armor, because as soon as that whole scene goes down, the wildlings, they come in and we get to see what giants can actually do. And I really love how they're putting the giants into fight scenes, because every time that they do it, it's just, like you're just like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
So
they've done a really, really good job with making them believable and not look cheesy. And the dragons are really good at times and are pretty rough at times. And I mean, we'll touch on that a little bit later this episode. But the giants seem like they've been consistently pretty well done.
Big, yeah.
I mean, they've looked big,
Yep. So yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes right there. But I was kind of disappointed because, we still don't get to see Davos fight. So
yeah.
Oh well.
All right, my note basically, Thorne says once Ed comes in with his gangbusters, he calls him a fucking traitor, and Ed's like, that's like the pot calling the kettle black, because you guys are all traitors, by killing the Lord Commander. So go fuck yourself.
See, but he didn't hear Thorne's whole speech about, we killed him, but I never disobeyed an order. No, that's kind of understood. You don't kill your commander. That's just as bad.
So, Glenn, would that be Osmond or Osfried?
The Kettle Blacks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Abby, book only joke.
I just figured I missed something in the episode. I was cool.
So that's the damn thing about crossbows. It takes too long to reload. One smash, just bam. I loved it. He just looked up. It's like, you fucking dick. He's like, I haven't done. I knocked on the door. Really? You're gonna try that on me? All right, you're done.
It's really like smashing a mosquito into the wall is what it felt like. Really, you're gonna bite me?
Yeah, I made sure to slow it down to get these shots of these too, because they're that was my favorite.
Yeah, that kind of ended the fight there, because everybody kind of saw that and were like, okay, like we're pretty much done, and you guys win. Yes.
Yeah. It reminded me of the episode of Avengers with the Hulk and Loki, and he's just like taking Loki and he's just throwing him around. It's a good scene.
All right, anybody got anything else?
No, good scene.
Good scene. All right, we go to King's Landing. We have a cock twirler, a mountain of a man, and Mother of Madness, and some loyal men. The man brags about his endowment and is introduced to the wall. Cersei is sent to her room by the king's men. Abby.
The biggest thing about this scene is what's the mountain? The color of his face behind his mask it makes me like cringe. I don't know why. I don't know why it bothers me so bad, but like that blue,
gray, purple,
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever color it is.
yeah, starved lack of oxygen color just really gets to me. Like it just,
there it is.
I don't,
Like
I don't know
blood
why.
eyes.
Yeah, yes, the bloodshot eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like asphyxiation probably. There's me, not like makes it extra creepy factor. And when they send, I guess, the King's Guard to tell Cersei she has to stay, I did not realize their helmets hinged like that, like where their hinges were. I think they look super sweet opened up. And I'm sure it's been like that the whole time. I think I just never realized the way the hinges worked.
for the gold cloaks, the
Yeah.
City Watch.
Mm-hmm. I do
Yeah.
feel like it might be a flawed design because if you get hit right in the nose, I feel like there's not going to be much protection unless they lock. But
It's probably one
still
of those
cool
things
otherwise.
where
And like
they-
you look
they
at the mountain, he's
cooler.
wearing the same helmet, just
Yeah.
that they closed.
Yep.
So, yeah, they probably do hinge together.
But they don't lock. So if you get hit right on, I feel like it's just going to split open and not help you. Flawed design.
Well, unless
Fair.
your face is already like formed, then it's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean,
these are the
unless you're already
sacrifices
dead.
that they're making.
All right, Amanda.
So, I thought this is like extremely scary when you think about it. So Cersei has her own giant zombie out doing her bidding. She doesn't even have to be around. He just hears somebody talking about Cersei, and he just walks up to him, and he doesn't even put any effort into it. He doesn't even like, a drawback or anything. He just goes like that, and he crushes the man against the wall. So she has got a monster
It's like the
out
1-inch punch.
doing her exactly.
I was about to say the same thing, Luke.
Yeah. She's just got this monster out there doing her bidding, and that is terrifying when you actually think about it. You have to really watch what you're doing, because she doesn't even have to necessarily tell him to go do this. He it seems like that might have actually been out of free will. He's just a Cersei's monster now.
Something
So.
about Cersei or bad talk, and he's gonna go right to the source and end him.
Yeah, not to completely
I-
disagree with you at all. Abby, go for it.
So I didn't get that assumption that he like had heard it or was out. I got the assumption that somebody heard them or whatever, reported it back to Cersei, and Cersei sent the mountain out after him. Obviously, I'm surmising all of this, but in my head is how I kind of thought it worked. Like,
I'm
we
kind
had
of
this
with you.
issue.
I mean, we know that Qyburn is the one that kind of set up this whole mountain issue, and he's also the master of whisperers. So he's got those connections, and so like it's specifically to me, it seems like Qyburn just sent him, and then he just shows up and was like, "It's done." Like, what's up?
Oh yeah.
But I
This
do
is
like the
this-
idea of more sentience with the mountain. It's almost more terrifying if he can think for himself some. So I'm with you. Good stuff.
So during the walk of shame, when Cersei's walking through, the town or whatever, I believe you can see this so-called whip dick
Whip dick.
exposing himself to everybody
Mhm.
while everyone's yelling obscenities. Like,
Yeah, he's the one that jumps out and opens up his
Right,
robe.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like one guy yelling obscenities over and over again.
somebody
But
said, fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I believe it was him that kind of whipped his dick out, and now he's talking about it to all the boys.
That she licked her lips at.
Right.
Yeah, you know that fucker's been telling that story for weeks, getting free drinks. He's like, yeah, you see, this is like one claim to fame, but now you got to wonder what's going to happen to fuck off guy or, or whore titties, the ones that's like, if Whip Dick gets a brick wall to the face, what are those two in store for?
Yeah, as he was peeing too, wasn't he peeing?
Yeah,
It
he
was
turned
just-
around
He was.
and it in the subtitles it literally says as he's already turned around and he's facing the mountain, then it says urinating stops. It's great. Which makes me think he peed on the mountain too. A factor in the quick
Yeah.
kill.
Possibly.
Right?
Deserved. Pee on my
He
shoe.
was just gonna ask him about it. Like
What a Pete Luca, last one.
yeah, so like whenever Cersei and Kyborg come down and are trying to go to Myrcella's funeral or wake, whichever, not really, it's kind of both. The Gold Cloak's commander, is kind of like, hey, Tommen said you can't go, and then she's like, well, let me talk to him. He's like, well, Tommen's not here, and then Cersei walks back upstairs, all in a huff, reasonably, I think, and Kyborg is still just standing there, and like pretty intimidating, and then turns around and like the sigh of relief on the commander's face whenever that happens, I just thought was a nice little touch. Doesn't hurt anything. It's like the realistic thing of these kind of smaller folk that are just doing their job, and he knows going up against this, a lot of these guys are going to be killed. They might be able to take him down, but how many guys are here? I mean, 15 maybe. A healthy number are not making it out of that fight, and just good quick characterization for this no-named, never see him again character. So that's all I got.
Anything else? We will stay in King's Landing. We got Myrcella, Tommen, Jaime, High Sparrow, the Faith, Militant, and Cersei. Amanda, why don't you kick us off here?
So, let's see. Are we doing the scene with Jaime and Myrcella in the sept?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a great scene right here. Jaime is talking with Tommen, and he is. It sounds when Cersei is saying that Tommen doesn't want to see her, and she can't go. It sounds as though he's kind of grows to balls, and he's telling his mom what to do. But in reality, he just feels completely remorseful and regretful for what has happened to his mom, and he just can't face his mom is what's actually going on. And so we get a good interaction between Jaime and Tommen, and Jaime's saying, hey, just make amends. And then the High Sparrow walks in, and Tommen leaves, and we get a great interaction between Jaime and the High Sparrow, and Jaime actually threatens the High Sparrow's life. But the High Sparrow soon tells him that go ahead and kill me. My death makes no difference. There's going to be plenty of people that come. We have no names, but together we can overthrow an empire. So really great scene, and the mention of together we can overthrow an empire might actually tell us what the Faith of the Seven and the High Sparrow actually have in store. So,
Right, yeah, he kind of calls his bluff. Yeah, so my note I got, it just seems like Tommen's always getting lectured next to the open casket.
It's so true.
Because I think last we saw Joffrey had passed, and Tommen was kind of taking the torch from him. Tywin was there, lecturing him, and you see this here with Jaime doing the same thing. And I guess for the show, it's just one of those consolidation things. Instead of having them, mourn the death and then have a separate scene wherever, he's getting lectured or something like that.
These two characters
Let's
are
just
here.
Throw them all the same thing.
But yeah, Tommen's definitely getting a lot of fireside chats.
All right, Ben.
Yeah. So I did have the note. Who are we? Who are we? None of us have names or power, but together we can overthrow an empire. Well, shit, Jamie. Looks like you're fucked. But also, I like how they finally explained what the rocks on the eyes mean. Because they never, up until this point, we always see the death scenes, but they never explained, why, they do it. And it makes sense, it helps us remind us that when our eyes are closed in this world, they're opened up in the next or whatever. So it's like, okay, finally, at least some clarity on this tradition. They're pouring over there.
Oh, they're
They're
pouring.
pouring drinks.
Yeah, so I know this was a little bit touched on in Amanda's comment, but like Tommen really disappointed in his own inaction to save his mother, I thought was pretty believable. Like he wanted to do the right thing, but fell short of what he was in his mind raised to be. And it's just kind of interesting to get this from Tommen, and we get kind of another scene right after this portion of it with him, and where he actually goes and apologizes to Cersei. And I thought it was a pretty solid apology, specifically to Cersei, at least. Like, hey, I wanted to be strong, but I wasn't. Can you teach me how? Kind of thing. And I think he does a good job at kind of showing where, in his mind, he faulted and where he can bring Cersei back to being a powerful player with him. Not saying that's for the best in the long run in any regards. Sorry, BBM. Cersei's pretty problematic as a leader, but I like that they're at least getting these family ties kind of sorted out a bit. And I don't know, the whole scene with Jaime and High Sparrow is really, really good. When he threatens him, and the High Sparrow's like, "You're gonna spill blood in this holy place," and Jaime's like, "Oh, the gods won't mind. Like, it's okay." How much blood has been spilled specifically by them anyway? Like, this isn't gonna matter. I just thought it was a good scene.
I thought Jaime made a critical error not killing him right there. He could have beat these guys going out just to escape. He would have been fine. He should have sliced him up right there.
One bad-handed? Nah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have survived it.
Before the hand,
well, it would have been
before
worth
the
it.
hand, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It would
before
have
the
been
hand,
worth it.
absolutely.
He should have
Well, it's
done
kind
it.
of like saying,
Well, he
Sansa
just
should
made
have
himself. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead, Benj.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's kind of the same thing. If Sansa should have thrown Joffrey from the parapet when she had the chance,
Yeah.
it's kind of you're gonna go out on your sword, make it count, and yeah, you're right. He could have gone out on the sword on this good one, but
Yeah, I don't want him to die. I like Jaime a whole lot, but like you can't say something and then not do it. That makes you look weak. Let's get a Tywin lesson going here. You cannot appear weak because you are weak then. Like he just shouldn't have said any of it.
Mm-hmm. The
That's
fact
the
that he didn't
problem.
follow through on the threat once it was
Yes.
made is
Mhm.
is
That's
yeah,
my issue.
counterproductive.
Like that just stupid. And I also like you, Luke, thought that Tommen's apology was well done. It also like not only just apologizes, I think it's sincere, but kind of strokes Cersei's ego with like show me how to be powerful. So even if she's still mad as like a kid, you're like, ooh, I know I'm playing to her. Like I know this is gonna get her juices flowing. I don't feel like Cersei has accepted or gives two shits about this apology. Like it just didn't come across to me as like a genuine, oh, it's okay, honey.
So I'll agree with you for like 3/4 of it. It was because she was even like,
for
it's
1/4.
okay. But then when he like stops her and says, no, it isn't, and like kind
Yeah.
of I don't know, takes the ball into his own court a bit. I think she kind of respected that a bit.
Respect it.
And I think that maybe, in my mind, changed the tide of the conversation a bit. And then that's when he asked for help. And
Yeah.
that's when she pulls him for the hug and says, always. And that was where I was like, that's the part where it was really, really impressive. I don't think he's playing a game. I think he's being genuine. And I think she respected the angle that he ended up taking out of it. So
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah,
exactly what you
and
were
it's
saying
good.
for the first half of it, definitely. But then by the end, I think she really did forgive what he did and likes the opportunity. Like you said, the ego stroking is going to go a long way for Cersei. And
Yep.
she likes the fact that he is bringing her in to do these things. And they can do it maybe together now, as a team.
Yeah, Luke, if you go like one or two more pictures to the hug, you can kind of see her. Yeah, that's where she's like, okay, I accept this. And, just facially, you can kind of tell she's, okay with it now. Or
I'm gonna let you guys have it. You
Abby, hold on a second. Your
can
internet's
have the
slow.
win here.
Abby, try that.
Sorry, like
Yeah, try that one more time. Your internet was glitchy.
sorry. It's like doing something crazy outside. It sounds like there's hailing against my house right now, so I apologize. But I said I'm gonna let you guys have it. I'm sure that's what's meant to be construed here. But to me, for some reason, like this off-glancing, like half smile, like it does not read like, oh, like all forgiven. My baby's back. It reads like I have him back in my control.
Okay.
Things
I
will
could
be
s-
well.
Okay, I
Like
can buy that.
I don't know why. It's probably
That's
my
fair.
feelings towards Cersei.
You're probably not wrong to just doubt her. like
Yeah,
her,
that's,
her
maybe
intentions.
that's it.
I think I made the point we were watching that he asked for her help, but at the same time, like Marjorie's still in the cells. Like I can imagine she's probably just, no. Let's wait on this. Wait until she goes through her, beatings and stuff. Let's not do anything right now to make her life better off. So, anybody got anything else? All right, we're going to move to Marine. We got Tyrion, Grey Worm, Missandei, Varys, Viserion, and Rhaegal. Tyrion and the crew discuss what's happening in the other free cities, and he decides to help the dragons grow. So I'll start this one off. I'm just kind of blown away. Like Tyrion, I think it was known. It's not really in the show really talked about much, but he had like a big fascination with dragons. So I think this is the show's version of just trying to regurgitate that kind of stuff. And he knows all this stuff about dragons. He says something, they must be unchained or they'll waste away. So he kind of thinks that we need to set them free because the last dragons that were around, like they turned into size of cats. So we need to do something now or they're going to be useless.
She's the queen. She's the mother of dragons. What is she going to be if these two dragons die from starvation? She's the mother of dragon.
Dragon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Ben.
So, how do you know? Well, that's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Oh, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it.
How do you know this?
That's what I do.
Cheers.
Drink, and I know things.
Yeah, this,
Abby,
I mean,
we've
if
been
you
waiting
couldn't
for,
tell-
for a year for this one.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is the namesake of our show. But it's time they have their supper. I hope they're kind of in the mood for more than just a little snack cake like you, Tyrion. You kind of get a little eerie feeling like, but then it's smart to bring the meteor Varys down there with him. It's like, hey, if you're gonna kill someone, go for the fat guy. I'm just finger foods here. But it didn't have to be a big dragon. It could be little, like me.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
It was so sweet.
Just like that. Now that was a hell of a moment, and I loved the visuals down in the dungeon there. As Luke was saying about the CGI, this is where the dragons are done right. Like it is impressively done right. I think.
I completely disagree.
Do you? See,
I thought
like
it was
this
a pretty
one.
weak attempt compared to other things that we've
I
seen.
think they're just.
Oh, this
Did-
is way better than the dragon writing, though.
Well, the writing part sucked. That was just the dragon itself in the pit was amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but and I put this on that level. Like I like how because it was nice and close up, like the interaction. I thought it was pretty cool. The coloration's weird. I
And
will
maybe
give it
that's
that.
what it is. The thing that
It's
really
dark.
Abby, go ahead.
No, I biggest thing about the dragons, I don't really know so much about CGI. It doesn't really bother me. Tell me it's a dragon, draw a picture. Okay, it's a dragon for me. But when he goes down and he's like starting to open his mouth up for like a fire, the ball is coming out of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else get the sense like the pilot light on your stove is
Exactly.
Right.
clicking on?
Yeah.
And you kind of like it kind of swirls around a little bit. Okay, cool. Then you have a little. I was like, that's just like a stove. All right, cool. All right, dragon. Then I wondered how their anatomy works,
Yeah,
but
no,
we can
and
get into that to another day.
there are a lot of theories and things out there about dragon lore in all sorts of fantasy stories, not even just this, but like how does it anatomically work? There's a lot of really good things out
You
there
get the click, click, click.
right. Oh, that's, the pilot's out. The pilot's out. The
It's
thing that
fun
bothered me most about it wasn't necessarily the visual CGs. Parts of it weren't as smooth as I thought they were before. And it could just be the dark lighting that makes it tougher to make believable. It's like they're hiding things a bit. And yes, the scene required it, so I'm not complaining about that. The sounds of the dragons, I thought, were terrible. I thought they sounded highly mechanical.
What do they sound?
I don't have a clip of it. I just thought it was like, okay, this is trying a little too hard. It didn't sound animalistic to me at all. It sounded like no, mechanical.
I can see that. You know, I do know one thing that the sound guys tried doing was every year they added a new animal.
I think they added like a couple Harleys on this one.
Yeah.
Or a bicycle with a can in the tire. So that was really the thing that stood out to me in this scene.
Fair.
A little over mechanical. All right, Abby, go ahead.
Other than the pilot light, I also thought we had the conversation before where Tyrion is drinking and they all kind of give him that question. But look at what a little bit of liquid courage will give a guy. He'll go face dragons and free them. Good job. Good job, wine.
He'll sober up while doing it too.
Yeah, that was like right at the end. I was like, yeah, but now we're sober. Back to more.
Next time I present an idea like this, punch me in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I hope that there's actually a scene where Varys actually has to punch Tyrion in the face.
Oh, right.
Because it's been foreshadowed. So I'm hoping that Tyrion has to do something with dragons again in the future, and Varys just goes ahead and just punches him like right in the face.
Just lays him out.
That was one of those ideas you were talking
I
about.
can feel it being like a palm. Like if Varys is gonna do it, it's like a palm to the nose.
Judo chop, maybe.
Just-
Yeah.
or a Gregor Clegane, just the mountain, just into the wall.
You told me to.
I could see it.
I hope it happens now too. I agree.
Amanda, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so I didn't get that whole mechanical sounding dragons thing. When I saw that scene, I really liked it. But I don't like Tyrion's logic when he decides to go down there, because he's asking Missandei and he's like, were you around the dragons? And she said, yes. And did they ever try and harm you? She said, no. And he said, well, that's because dragons are smart and they know who their friend is. And so it sounds like he's going to try and get Missandei to go down there. But then he just announces, and I am their friend. So like, let's go down there.
Like, why is Varys his escort? At least bring her with you.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm
so,
a friend of your
like,
friend.
Yeah. Like friend by association. So like I didn't get his logic. Like I thought that originally, like, you know, he's like trying to get her to go down there, and he just like announces, I am their friend, you know, and goes down there, and you know, he could have died.
I guess it's, you know, like Caesar, the dog whisperer. You know, if you go in with some confidence and just act like you're playing the part, it's gonna work out, I guess.
I have questions about the pin in the hinge lock. how do these stay on these gigantic beasts, but Tyrion is able to just pull it out? Obviously,
Slide.
there should be some tension on that. It should not be
there's
that
no
Lack of thumbs. That's all I can say.
bolt, like nut end, nothing. He just pulls it out. I mean, one sleepy afternoon when they startled to wake up on that wrong side, wouldn't it just fall out? Doesn't make any sense.
You got a thing with hinges, don't you?
I do. You're right. Today was all about the hinge.
Yes,
Wrong.
It's all about that hinge.
that's cool.
We done with Marine.
Done with it. I'm over it.
Good scenes overall.
Okay, we're gonna go to Bravos. We have Blind Beth, Waif, and Jack Queen. Arya is challenged visually and guided away. All right, Benji, why don't you go?
So, to quote the great Jim Ross, she's like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition, and she was getting beaten like a rented mule. Sorry, I had to get the one wrestling reference in today. Yeah, no, I enjoyed this. She's actually starting to hold her own in the fight. You know, she was still getting the shit kicked out of her, but at least she was able to fight back a bit more this time.
She tried. Yeah, she was also less surprised. Like it was, oh, you're hitting me? Like the last time, it was just, oh, why is somebody hitting me? What the hell?
All right, Luke.
You know, by the end of it, a girl is not a beggar anymore, as she's going to pick up her little bowl, and she thinks he's just like moving her to a different part of the town. It sounds like this may be the end of her sitting on the stairs here for a while at least. So that's, I think, what she was assuming, but it sounds like that is not Jack Queen Hagar's intent.
What the fuck is going on here? Can we just get out of Bravos, Arya? Like, how do we? I don't know. I don't want her to go with Jaqen. I'm glad he stopped the beating. So, okay, we're cool, I guess, Jaqen. But, like, is she gonna go back into the House of Black and White? Is she like repented for her? I don't know. Is what it is, I guess. We shall see. Hopefully, Arya sees again too. Very cool.
Yeah, it was very satisfying to see, Arya start to hold her own because, just constantly throughout the series, we're getting, the Stark girls, both of them are just getting the bad end of the stick. So, I mean, just constantly, and you really just, feel bad for them inside on all of their scenes. So it's good to see Arya kind of learning from the experience and kind of growing. So hopefully this is, a turning point for her and her character. And, we're going to be seeing some more, this vengeful, maybe Arya instead of this weak and, girl that's getting her ass beat. So hopefully we'll get to see a little bit more of Arya, the vengeful girl.
Hell yeah.
Basically, Arya-san is just kind of going through the flow with some of this training sequence.
Arya-san.
Yeah, like Karate Kid or something like that, where, the beginning of the movie, kind of Ralph Macchio was just like, why the hell do I gotta do this kind of stuff? And then, eventually, he kind of conforms to what Miyagi's trying to teach, and he's kind of random, cleaning my car and stuff like that, and, catching
whack on, whack off.
Whack off, whack on, whack off. It's kind of similar here. She doesn't really know why she has to go through all this, kind of bullshit. But in the end, she just kind of goes with it, and we'll see what happens. I think, as Luke pointed out, she's not going to be a beggar anymore.
Jaqen pointed that out.
Well, you also pointed out Jaqen point.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the credit.
All right. Anything else? We are going to move to Winterfell. Bruce, Ramsay, Wolken, Karstark, Fat Walda, the Babe, and a pack of direpos. Bruce is annoyed by Ramsay's lack of tact and learns of being a new father once again. Ramsay gives him a present for this happy day and gives his new brother and stepmom a couple of puppies. All right, Luke, your turn.
Yes, I mean there's quite a few things going on in this series of scenes, obviously. Ramsey kind of has this whole thing planned out a bit, and as soon as the baby is born, things kind of start going into motion, right? It's I don't know if there's too many surprises of what happens, knowing how shitty Ramsey is, and things kind of go his way. Kind of gets a bunch of wins here, a bunch of quick wins.
Maybe?
I'm just surprised at Roos. I'm not surprised that Ramsey did this. I'm just surprised at how easily Roos was taken out. Like he knows his son. I think he sees him pretty much for what he is, and you don't think he's coming after you? I don't know. And Walda at the end, I feel like she's probably a person that he could have let go. Just return to the Riverlands. I don't think she would conquest back against him. She just wants to live not even a decent life, just like people aren't terrible to her. She'd be happy. Just let her go. But
What about the baby? You think take the baby with? Or
well, yeah, I think we should definitely take the baby with. He shouldn't have been Puppy Chow. I mean, that was it. Just those dogs are so big. And, it's just hard. Poor mom.
And Poe.
And what
they get in the
bullshit?
way a
The
lot.
lady just had a baby, and you're gonna summon her, Walda. I'm sorry. Like she shouldn't have gone. She should have been like, "Fuck you, Lord Bolton. I just had a baby. Get to my bedside. I ain't walking nowhere."
At least wait
Not
till
happening.
after maternity leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, released from the hospital at least. Jeez.
Ruthless over there.
Yes.
All right, Amanda.
So, did anybody else get the impression that Karstark knew exactly what was about to happen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because he just sat there and was perfectly calm. And the maester is, he just, is standing there with like his mouth opening, not knowing what to do. And Karstark actually corrects him. He's like, "That's Lord Bolton now." So it seems like Karstark probably was in on it. Can you imagine being the maester in that room when the son kills Lord Bolton? I couldn't imagine being in that room when that happens. But it was such a crazy scene with Fat Walda having to be eaten by dogs. That was very intense. That's one of those scenes where it almost hurts you to watch it, but you can't look away. It's like a horrible traffic accident. But
I do love that she, like, as she knows what's gonna happen, she turns her back to the dogs and like cradles the baby. Because that's, I don't know, what any mom would do.
Protect the football.
Obviously, that's right. She did. She totally footballed them. Just, for as long as she could. So good on her.
And they had to get like the cutest baby possible too.
Yes.
Like, why did you have to do that? Like,
there are tons of ugly babies. Most babies are ugly, honestly. At least when they're that small. I'm sorry, Mom. They just are. But you got the cutest one.
I know, and I mean, and it's supposed to be a fray too, so it's not accurate at all. It should be like this like hideous little baby, but instead they got like the cutest baby possible
with like the elf nose and everything.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They took the wrong baby home, probably.
Swip swap.
It's better than just showing a bundle and just be like, there's probably a baby in there, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a little baby
Yeah, it
in
makes
there.
it a little more real, actually getting to see a cute little baby.
Right. Yeah. My note kind of ties in a little bit. I was just kind of surprised that, like, I guess I'm not really surprised, but it's just shocking that Ramsey would kind of eliminate his family, like, with other people present and or like in the public. I just can't. Kind of the people around had to hear like the dogs going off, and kind of would question, "Hey, what the hell's going on?" "Oh, that's just Ramsey killing Fat Walda and the baby." Like, what the
No
hell?
worries.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that guy running the show, somebody's
kinda
gonna do
like
that,
what-
like he's gonna come after me next.
Bruce was saying about him, like his tactics aren't good. I'm not exactly sure. Just earlier in this, because he asks about going up to the wall and taking John there, and how Bruce is saying like that's not a good plan. Ramsey's not really a planner. I don't think he really necessarily thinks out.
I think he's
In
more of a
detail.
trapper keeper.
He's a trapper keeper. A
Trapper
Dawson's
keeper?
Creek trapper keeper.
He's not a planner. He's a trapper keeper.
Okay, as long as it's a Lisa Frank one, we can totally get down with that.
Oh yeah. But that's a good point. Ramsey just lost his voice. The only voice of reason that Ramsey had is he now killed. And so Ramsey is just going to be going straight off of, Ramsey's instincts now, instead of having somebody to kind of like oversee and kind of rationalize and reason with him. So
And rein him in, because nobody has any type of power over him.
exactly.
And yes, he
Terrifying.
might be capable of being effective, but
Mhm.
in this exact scene, as you guys are pretty much already touching on, like Ramsey is very, very calculated, and everything that he's done has put them in a really, really good spot without people absolutely hating him all over the place. Like it's been really subtle the way that he's been able to kind of finagle himself into this Warden of the North situation. And everything that Ramsey is doing and proposing is like, yeah, that will solve this short-term problem. That is not going to work for more than, like, I don't know, another month. Like, you're pretty much fucked real quick.
He's
that's the
putting
great thing.
band-aids.
But that's the great thing about Ramsey is he doesn't give a shit about the long run. It's instant gratification. What can I do now that will serve my purpose at this moment? I will fix it later on when it comes. Yeah, right there. But I will fix it as it comes. But I need to get this done now. But yeah, kind of going to your points of him and Karstark kind of knowing. I have a feeling like they've been friends since childhood. Like that's a childhood friend of his, because being from the north, probably both second in line of their houses at
Went
the
to
time.
school
You
together.
get close to the people close to your age in your general area. So yeah, Karstark absolutely knew what was coming, but I don't think Ramsey was officially set on it until he found out that the baby was a boy. If it had been a girl, I think he would have just let it play out.
I also don't think there's a possibility. I feel like Roose makes a critical error when he like acknowledges, "Don't worry, you'll always be my firstborn." I feel like had he just not necessarily used those words
Yeah.
at that exact moment, maybe we could have skated through this. But it just seems like that was the trigger where he was like, "Yep, happening now,
Yeah, definitely.
going down."
Absolutely agree with you. But my note into this though, I kind of did see this coming first time through. You kind of expected to. But I kind of thought they would drag it out for an episode or two, maybe let Roose needle, Ramsey a bit with it, kind of down him, but I didn't see it coming that quick. But you gotta feel bad for Fat Walda, talking about going from one shit family to another. And it's like all she wanted to do was just be happy, have a kid, have a couple kids, sit back and eat. That's it.
Yeah. She
And
didn't want to be queen or the lady, or she just wanted to be happy.
yeah, and it's just that you gotta feel bad for her.
Right. And she wasn't really given a fair shake. She was just kind of, just a ploy in this whole thing, I think. All right, everybody get something in, or we are going to move on. We're going to talk about Ice and FireCon 2019. So we will be there. I think Amanda said she would be there as well. The promo code for us is drinks at the checkout, and you can go to www.iceandfirecon.com/store to get your tickets. So hope to see you there. Should be a lot of fun.
It was last year.
It was last year.
Maybe we'll have more than just me and you in the room for our our talk, our programming. We were like, "Where is
panel.
everybody?"
Nobody showed up to the panel.
Apparently, everyone was out at the melee. So we were like, "Well, let's just do a real quick panel with just Glenn sitting at one of the tables."
Well, it's funny because they had, for the kids at home that are not really understanding. Like we were at Ice and Firecon, me and Luke, and like we were like walking around, like looking for stuff to do or panels and shit like that, and there's like nobody around. We were like, man, what the hell? So we like looked at one of the rooms. It had like all the panel stuff set up. So like, let's have our own panel real
Let's
quick.
do a real quick panel.
So like he videotaped me going up there, and I was like, all right, we're gonna open up to questions.
No questions. The camera
no
pans around to all the empty seats.
All right, thanks for coming out.
Oh, good times.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you guys gonna apply for a panel?
I'd like to. We gotta act like we're smart for once. Figure out something to talk about.
You guys should. You guys should. And I probably am not going to be able to go to Ice and Firecon. I was just really interested that you guys are going because I want to go. But my husband is actually going to be away during that time, and I've got a lot of responsibilities over here that I can't kind of logistically figure out.
Mhm.
But I've been wanting to go for the past few years. It just seems like the stars never align for me. So
Sure.
that's really cool that you guys get to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I think all four of us are going to be able to go this year, which is new. I think Glenn and I went and tested the waters. It was more of like, hey, let's dip a toe in, and then now we're going to try to go in full force. So if you're gonna be there, be ready to drink if you see us.
That's what we should just have a panel at the bar or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we
You
can
could.
bring
I
equipment.
mean, that's
with
your
us.
thing, right?
Yeah, just come to the bar and then we'll drink.
Life as a drinking podcaster.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hangovers.
How to avoid cirrhosis by the age of 32.
All right. Back to the episode. Road from Winterfell. Sansa, Theon, Brienne, and Pod. Brienne and Sansa discuss Arya and mistakes made. Theon asks to leave to take a horse and a head home. Abby.
I mean, Theon's leaving, so that's cool, I guess. I thought it was a nice way for them to part ways, at least like their interaction. You can tell that Sansa's grateful for what Theon has done specifically for her in the last couple days here. But I'm just surprised that Theon wants to go back to his family. It just surprises me. I feel like Brienne's a better choice. Stay with her. She's got her shit together. So
For Theon to stay with this group.
yeah, I feel like it would be a safer bet for his life, at least.
Right.
But Asha did try and save him, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
she
sure-
loved, he's got some family that love him there, and he doesn't have anywhere else to go to.
And if he ends up putting his faith in Jon Snow, who he knows is a lot like Ned Stark. I mean, the true justice thing for what Theon grew up seeing, if Jon's anything like Ned, it's not really going to be trying to convince Jon one way or the other. It's going to be, this is what the answer is because of these crimes, regardless of its in I think Theon's kind of right in what he knows. He doesn't know what Jon's been through and all these other things, but he knows that regardless of it was Rickon and Bran, he still killed the two farmers' boys. He still took off Cassel's head, and
he took Winterfell behind, Rob's back and all that.
And the
all that
straight up
stuff,
betrayal.
yeah.
But there are
I think
other
it's
murderers and terrible people at the wall, though. I mean, again, talking about what we know of Jon
So
now.
the
that's
wall.
that's fair. He's not going to be Theon Greyjoy anymore. He would go to take the black. So
Yeah.
that's I will agree with that point. That's a good point. Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely Ned Stark's sons would behead him without question. And not that I don't think that like Jon has changed in a bad way. He's just more worldly. I think he's seeing bigger pictures now. I don't think he necessarily kills him right off. But Theon doesn't know that.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's kind of the unknown, the known versus the unknown. Like he thinks he probably has a better shot going home, instead of staying with the the group and going with what fate's gonna have through the Starks. I don't know.
He's in a tough spot. I mean, Theon's been
Yeah.
through a lot, and he's at a proverbial crossroads. He kind of has to choose: am I going to go with them, or am I going to go with what sounds like what his heart is telling him to do? And yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony, baby.
All right, Amanda.
So yeah, I think that he really didn't have, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He really didn't have anywhere to go, and that was probably the only what I feel is a safe bet, because he knows that Asha tried to save him. She tried to rescue him, and of course his dad is a dick. But I mean that's just that's just Ironborn for you. So he didn't have a choice. I think he made a good one to try and go home. At least there's some people that actually care about him and care about his well-being, because if he were to go to the wall, he would not know, what's going to happen to him. If we look at the scene where Theon Greyjoy is introduced, we're actually introduced to Theon witnessing a beheading, Ned Stark beheading a person who supposedly had fled from the wall. But
Will.
yep. And
Will.
so that's how we're introduced to Theon Greyjoy, is him actually seeing that. So I don't know. I thought it was a good choice. In the end, he doesn't have a lot of options for him. So,
And along with that, like, he doesn't know that Balon Greyjoy didn't send Asha Yara to go save him, right? I mean, I don't think they had a whole
True.
lot of conversation. So he may in his head wrongly think that maybe Balon sent this, rescue brigade to get him. But he could have that in his mind too. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Yeah. My note, and I don't really have a lot on this, but I do like the transition between. Well, what's Theon gonna do? Where's he gonna go? Oh, home. Okay. And then the next scene, where's home? Pike.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was well done. How, just the transition of, this is what we're talking about, and then boom, next season, right there, or next scene, right there.
Yeah. With the format of how we laid these out, I think we miss out on a lot of those well-placed transition, like, oh, they say a line and it specifically relates to the next character that you see or the next area that you see, and this one, it works out.
It works out. It does work out. All right, Ben.
Honestly, if I was Sansa, I'd be kind of pissed. Just the last time you went home, you fucked over our family. I mean, yeah, you're showing remorse right now and everything, but you were helpful then, and you still fucked over our family. So why the fuck do you want to go back now? And I get it, like the points you guys made of, he thinks because of Yara coming to get him, Balon possibly having had a change of heart about him. But at the same time, if I was in her shoes, it would annoy me, because it's like, okay, why don't you just stick with us? You're gonna live if you come with us, but that's not what he wants.
Come with me if you want to.
All right, Luke.
Yeah, this is kind of an in-scene transition that they do of, Brienne talking to Sansa, and they have a nice discussion, and she flat out says, we've all had to make tough choices, because Sansa's like, man, I should have just gone with you from the start. Like, that would have been a smart choice. And Brienne's like, we've all had to make tough decisions. And she says that looking at Theon. It's like, it makes me curious as to like what Brienne knows about what Theon has done / been through. And I mean, clearly looking at him, he looks pretty broken and defeated. And I don't think there's any doubt, regardless of what Brienne knows that he's done, that he's sacrificed just about everything to get Sansa even here. So, like, I think she respects that of him, regardless of anything else. And those are just two characters we've never really had any interaction between. We've never had a chance to see them know anything about each other, really. And I thought it was just kind of nice that Brienne kind of throws it out. you probably need to go talk to Theon because he's been through some shit, is what it seems like, and he had to make some tough choices to be here. And then we know it turns into a tough choice that he ends up making to leave the group as well.
Yeah, he leaves the group. That was a tough choice.
Tough
Good
choice.
point.
Thanks,
All
Glenn.
right, we're going to move to Pike. It looks like Abby's having some connection issues. So I guess we'll move on and see if she gets back on. In the meantime, we have Yara, Balon, little brother, and Damphair. Balon dresses down his daughter's failures, and his path is blocked by his little brother. Asha/Yara learns about the King's Moot. All right, Amanda, go for it.
So, and I have a tendency to say Asha, but yes, Yara. She's attempting to be the voice of reason to Balon, because Balon is talking about trying to go back, trying to take more land, and every time that they've done it so far, it's been a failure. And she's been pointing that out to him because it's an issue. And anyway, the Ironborn are virtually defeated. Their last stronghold on the mainland has fallen. They have nothing. And he's trying to go back and talking about trying to get more and do more conquests and more stuff on the mainland. And Yara is just trying to get through to him, and he's not listening. And he actually leaves her. And that cuts to the scene where we are on the bridge, and the famous bridge scene. So, and we get to see another kinslaying. So we've had 2 kinslayings in this episode.
A twofer.
Two for one.
It's a twofer.
Worth the price of admission.
BOGO, if you will.
Yes, it's a twofer. So, yeah, it's an interesting scene. It's a lot different than the books. What did you guys think about the scene?
Yeah, it was kind of one of my favorite parts of one of the most memorable about reading the books is I just remember all the Greyjoy stuff or whatever, like the King's Moot. I remember all that like pretty vividly. Like the most thing I remember I remember reading that. There's like a lot of
sticks
stuff
with you.
Oh, I forgot that was even in the book, but definitely it just kind of sticks with you.
It's such a change of pace from where the books were before that, and all of this portion is kind of left in mystery, right? And you're not really supposed to know what's going on while you're reading it, and it kind of unfolds over time, and there's still maybe some speculation. And I like that they make it blunt in the show. This is one of the places where I'm kind of glad they dumbed it down just to consolidate to make it easier. I think it works really well. And I thought the interaction between these two on the bridge was clearly the stakes are high, and
the bridge is high as well.
And the bridge is also high.
Yeah. So, Abby, I see that you made it back. I wanted to ask if you had to name the little brother.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Like, are you asking me to just give him a name,
Well,
or
I mean,
do you know it?
Make up a name.
Do you know his name?
No.
Okay. Fair. That's kind of all I was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unnamed at this point.
Yeah, he's unnamed too, but we do know he's a little brother. So, my only note on this is they're getting pretty good at shooting falling shots of people falling.
It was a lot better.
Well, you had 2 episodes ago, Miranda taking the tumble off the wall, which looked pretty nasty, and this one was pretty badass too. But I always wonder about Pike. Why not reinforce bridges? I mean, if you have to have bridges from one tower to another, why just a rope bridge? Maybe a good, solid, sturdy, railway or something.
Bridge.
Yeah,
something with some fucking triangles. I don't know.
We
Ask
have
the engineer.
a Greyjoy and Pike expert with us, so I'm going to go not engineer on this. I'm going to ask her specifically.
Okay.
Yes.
So according to the series, it said that the castle walls or the little islands that the different castles are on, and it's a rope bridge because each part of the castle is on a little just spear or an upshoot. And what it says in the books is that little upshoots and pieces of where those castles are is slowly crumbling away. And so with a rope bridge, it is actually advantageous because it can actually kind of move with, you know, how everything is swaying. Whereas if you had something that was made out of, say, wood, or if you had something that's mortar, if there was any issue with, you know, any movement of those from one spot to the other, it would crumble, and you would no longer have a bridge. But if you have something that actually is kind of moves with, you know, with the motion of the ocean, it's going to stay there. So
no, that makes perfect sense.
Structural engineering perspective, she's exactly right. If you could avoid a highly rigid structure in a high seismic and wind activity area, you're going to be better off. Really
does make absolute sense. And by the way, I was nodding in agreement and understanding by
there. I can't see anything. So that's good.
It also makes for a dramatic cut. You know, you get a nice sharp knife and you don't like somebody, that's exciting.
Indiana Jones them.
It's always good for film. Rope bridges are always good for film, no matter what it is. It could be Shrek. It's amazing on film, no matter what.
You ever watched any of the YouTube videos that are like the 7 or 15 scariest bridges in the world? I love them. They get me. I want to go on them. I love them. Yes.
Or like the 15 scariest abandoned amusement parks.
Yes. Most dangerous roads in the world.
I just find it funny how like, oh, this is the best bridge to make because of the way the building. But why the hell are you making the buildings on these like narrow islands or whatever the fuck they are? It's
gonna be hard to take by land.
Maybe the bridges are actually holding them all up. Like you have 3 goings of each building going to another one, and they all are working together to pull in tension. And keep it
it's
up.
just a cable stay. There you go.
Yeah,
they made the building like, oh shit, they're like moving all around. Let's make bridges to keep them.
Yeah, totally work.
It does make it look cool, like something out of like Lord of the Rings, maybe, or something like that, where it just doesn't really make sense why you'd build something that way, but it just looks really, really cool and unique, I guess. So.
It's always dramatic. I mean, with how much it's moving around, and you see Balon start to stumble a bit, and the other guy, Euron, I'll just name him Abby. His name is Euron.
Spoiler.
It's not really a surprise.
Drink.
His name's Euron. I'll drink.
Crow's
anyway.
eye.
He's like, you know, you're getting old, because if you think of this is supposed to be very similar to on, you know, the deck of a ship, right? It's supposed to be moving around, and your sea legs, you know, you should be really well balanced, and he kind of stumbles a bit. So that's kind of a tell that maybe Balon isn't fit to rule the Iron Islands, a seafaring people, if he can't even stay on this goddamn rope bridge. I mean, it's kind of analogous to that. So that's another narrative reason as to why the rope bridges make sense.
Your point right there. I wonder, like, what is their age difference? I feel like often in this, like, he looks like a grandpa, and this guy looks like 20 years his junior. How are they brothers?
I mean, it could be around, 15 to 20 years.
But
difference.
like,
read
that like Ned Stark was like 30 when he was like the big head honcho. How does that work, like, timeline wise? People aren't old enough to have kids.
Well, look at like Ramsay and his little kid or whatever.
Yes,
like,
true.
He just had a newborn. Ramsay's older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right, Glenn. Fine. Be reasonable.
Yeah.
And it's also mentioned in the series when Theon actually sees his father. And granted, he hadn't seen his father in like 10 years or so. But when he saw his father, he mentioned in his POV that he had aged more than he should. That he actually looks older than he actually is. So
the presidency effect of somebody.
Yeah.
Or maybe Theoden, king of Rohan. He's being possessed.
Or he does meth or something. And he looks a lot older because of the meth.
He does seaweed.
Yes, it's the meth.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. We're giving Kevin a complex here with all of our bridge talk.
Bridge.
Oh, no.
What complex?
his screen name's Bridge 4, so every time
Oh.
we're talking about bridges and such.
I have another last thought on this, if that's okay. So this guy falls to his death pretty good amount, right?
Mhm.
But then they wrap up his body, and it looks like a pretty well intact body, pretty puffy, not flat, as they
But
ship him off.
He
How
hit
is
the water.
Hits the water and he
But
bloats.
it doesn't matter if you hit water or not. If you hit water coming from 100 feet, 200 feet, it's like hitting concrete.
Yeah, but by the time they find the body, it'll have bloated. So
Oh, she's
because of the
looking for
water
more pancaking.
absorption.
I want like crushed bones.
She's looking for
in-
Wile E. Coyote
Like-
scraped off with a spatula.
Dismemberment.
If you had no bones, your body would be a blob. It's a book I read last night, actually. A true quote from Bones. Reading level 2.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody got anything else, or did everyone get it something in? Or
Shout out to the King's Moot. That's apparently upcoming. And Damp Hair over here. Glad they got him in. And interesting to see where that goes for Asha Yara.
Why do we keep saying that?
The name
Asha.
changed from the book.
Yeah.
so there's like OSHA from that was with
Okay. Yeah.
the brand.
Is that why
George
they
and all them-
changed it?
They changed
Yeah.
it because it was too similar.
OSHA.
Asha and OSHA. So
Okay. 'Cause
They-
earlier I thought you guys did say OSHA, and I was like, wait, I haven't seen that bitch in a hot minute. She was not in this thing. I
yeah,
love
we
her.
have not
So
seen her since
then I'm
season
like,
3.
yeah,
Maybe
where the hell are
maybe
they?
Early 4.
How far away can the wall be, really? It's been seasons.
But yeah,
Shara.
so Asha Yara.
Okay.
is-
All right.
And Amanda
enough.
kind of mentioned that she's like, I have a hard time not calling her Asha at times.
Yeah.
No, that's fine
do.
with me. I
really
just
really
wanted-
common for book readers.
I just didn't know if it was the same person with the name change or a consolidation, like Theon has 2 sisters and they just made it into one and picked Yara.
well, you
to be
remember
the
the
one
scene
that-
where Theon tried to maybe even have sex with Osha, right? That was also his sister. No, I'm kidding. I'm just confusing you on purpose now.
And Roz. Remember the different
And
Rozes?
Roz was also
Eh.
his sister.
Yes. Slightly, maybe, Roz. You
Sorry,
sure?
Abby.
It's okay.
Okay, anything else? I'm missing anything. We have one of these every episode, a final scene. This time is in Castle Black.
Woo!
Let's cheers.
Cheers. Final scene.
Final scene. All right, so we are in Castle Black, correct? We have Davos, Melisandre, Tormund, Ed, Ghost, Jon fucking Snow. Davos inspires Mel for one attempt to bring Jon back. Well, shit, it worked. So, I know you have Davos, like, he's never been a fan of Mel. Like, but, like, I think he knows that she has powers or whatever. But I was just kind of, do you think that he knew anything about resurrections, or that, you know, that was possible? Because like he mentions, like, you birthed a shadow baby and all this, you know, jazz, like you've done all this and that, and but what about is resurrections, do you think something that's in the ballpark to think about? Or
Abby,
Well,
what do you
you know-
think? Or either
Okay.
way. Anyway, sorry.
Go ahead, Abby.
So my thought with this is I saw a shadow out of her vagina. I would think all things are possible.
That's kind of how I feel
So,
about it.
I feel like maybe Davos is like, no, I don't know the finer inner workings of this shit, but she literally pushed a shadow out of her lady parts. So let's ask. The
Is there-
worst she can
is there
say is
anything else you can do?
beyond my scope, you know?
Does that vagina work in other ways?
Like what? Who knows? You don't. But yeah, I think Davos is, like you said, just not a fan. But he's also not stupid or vain or too proud to go and say, "Hey, you're doing some crazy shit, and I want some crazy shit to happen. So I'm gonna ask you."
Is there anything else you can do? Like, it
Yeah.
does
Because,
not
like,
hurt to ask the question.
I don't know, like the whole time, like they're protecting his body. And, you know, I guess they, you know, just to give him proper burial, but like they're like willing to die over it or whatever. Like, so did you think that was possible like the whole time, or?
I mean, he could almost just be looking for preventing any further desecration of somebody that he respects and somebody that has this position of authority. Like, clearly they assassinated him. He's not going to be able to see one of them piss on his body, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, let's at least protect the body for that reason. They've been
Well-
locked up since they pulled it out of the courtyard. They've
Yeah.
been in this room for, like, what, I guess a day and a half is what we're supposed to assume. I mean,
Yeah, about that. Possibly 3 days. Symbolism. But you know, symbology. But also you gotta think about it. The 3 men that's with him, they're basically putting their necks on the line against the outcome because they've already shown their allegiance and they know they're dead. So Davos is also protecting them, plus Ghost, who he knows is going to get killed, with all this. And then, yeah, on top of it, I think they just want to give him a proper, send off if this last ditch effort doesn't work.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing with Davos, when he's approaching Melisandre to see, if it's even possible, it reminds me a lot when Dany went to Mary Mazdur, and she was like, "Do you know any magic?" She really didn't know either, and unfortunately, it turned out a lot different for Daenerys. But Melisandre, she's shown Davos quite a bit. He also mentioned that, hey, I've seen you drink poison and live. He knows she's got power. He knows she can see things. You don't know if this isn't beyond the realm of possibility. I think it's kind of interesting that she's mentioning, well, I've seen it done before, or I've seen a person live, and you would think that she would do the exact same ritual that Thoros of Myr would do, but she actually, the procedure is a little bit different. She's like cutting his hair, and she's like giving him a sponge bath. You would think that I would do the same thing that he did, but she's doing something that seems completely different, which I think is a bit weird.
Yeah, in fairness, she didn't see Thoros bring back Barrick. She just heard about it. She found out about it, so she doesn't know exactly what he did. So
didn't they take a class?
Yeah.
Google
at
what
Lord
to
of
do.
Light School.
Lord of Light School.
Yeah.
Non-denominational.
The grade school, Lord of Light.
Yeah.
Accepting applications.
The Solarian, god damn it, seminary of Solar, the Solar
Yeah.
Seminary.
The Solarians.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to figure.
Professor Kimvara.
I have some questions about the hair cutting. All right, cool. We know Mel's used like blood. She likes that king's blood, and she's got a big tie to like bodily fluids and apparently hair too, and crisping people. But had Jon Snow not had a beard, had he shaved the morning before, and she couldn't trim his beard hair because there's a very specific spot where she goes for the beard,
You know what?
would it
what
not
a hair
have worked?
You know what hair she'd use.
Right.
Probably his
But what if he
hair.
shaved
Go
everything?
down south.
What if he likes a nice, fresh, clean? Would it just not work with his? I don't know.
We all know that Kit Harington has hobbit feet, so so they'd still be good for
All right,
generic body hair.
right. Like, it was weird.
His foot pubes.
There's other hair you could use. So that's what we're saying.
But yeah,
All
Kaylee
right.
seems to be pretty well entrenched in. She needs a lot of DNA for whatever this procedure is. And yeah, she didn't see Thoros do his thing with Barrick, but this almost feels more like what we saw in Drogo's tent, with Dany and Miri Mazdur. And this is not information that I think we ever get in the books, but when Melisandre was younger, don't know how much younger, we know she's hella old, she was in Ashai. She's known as Melisandre from Ashai.
10,000 years ago.
10,000 more years
30,000
ago.
leagues
You know,
ago.
she's a Shadowbinder from Ashai is how she's described, and so she knows potentially blood magic, which we've seen, and she knows all of these other things that are more than just what the Lord of Light Thoros follower is going to be able to do. So
You're saying she's not like a noob?
I'm saying she has much greater depth of knowledge in these types of things. And I was also surprised that she doesn't do similar to what Thoros does. And it kind of gets to Abby, yeah.
The biggest thing that's like shocked me is that Ghost survived this. I was convinced that
It'd be a sacrifice of
John would live. Like the whole time I'm like, well, they're kind of keeping his body and they have some, and Ghost is there. I just thought that definitely Ghost was going. I'm very happy I was wrong. But I mean, she burns kids. What's a dire wolf?
Yeah, but kind of going into my point, you can kind of tell with just like with Theon and Cersei, even though she's kind of, she's done terrible things like burning kids and everything, she's broken. She doesn't have it. She just doesn't have it anymore. She's just like, I'm out. I was wrong. And when you get to that level, it's kind of. So I mean, I'm with you, but I was kind of expecting some play with Ghost or something like that. But I can see where she's like, you know what, it didn't work before. It doesn't matter. So, why take that chance and just stick with what she did? I do like the Davos's line of, "I'm not a devout man. The seven, the drown gods, the tree gods, fuck them all." And it's like, yeah, no wiser words are said. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if the Lord of Light's real or not. Fucking give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? You're wrong again? Okay, you're wrong again. Or
He's
it
still
doesn't work.
dead.
He's still
Like,
dead. Yeah, but at
right.
least shot. As Glenn would say, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. So
exactly.
That's the quote. And Benj,
this is where it originated.
That goes, yeah, exactly into the thing that I was working towards as well. I had the same seven gods, old gods, tree gods. It's all the same. Yeah, her beliefs are shaken to the very foundations of what they are, but I don't think it really matters. We know that Thoros didn't really believe when it first started working for him. He says that. He's like, I had given up all of it. I just did it because it was somebody I cared about.
Yeah.
I don't
the only
think
thing I could say was the words.
I don't think it. This is my own viewpoint on religions in the story. There is no true religion. It doesn't matter. It's all magic and different applications. And some of these religions hit on some of the things that allow them to do magic. They put whatever justification they want on it, but that doesn't really matter. It matters of what you're doing. And there's a quote in Stephen King's It that I think kind of applies. I didn't get it exactly, but it's almost like if there's a certain belief that you have to have for a certain magic to work, that it might work, but you will never know if you don't believe in the magic working. And so that's kind of the feeling I got here is it doesn't really matter if you're crediting it to a certain god. It's the belief in the magic itself that goes a long way. And as Melisandre's struggling through this, you can tell she ends up trying it out, right? And she's going through speaking in Valyrian, and it's not really working. She seems to be making it kind of a very ritualistic thing to the gods, or the Lord of Light in her case. But it's when she finally is almost just like, please. To me, that was the point where that's the thing that worked. It was, she had done the magic, but hadn't really believed in it. But once she just called out for help,
just fucking work.
Like, it was, to me, that was like the true belief in it that it took to get it to finally engage, if that makes sense, to kill switch, unengage. But I don't know. It was a really interesting scene, and I thought it was really, really well done. The characters interacting with each other were just really well done. I thought Melisandre was awesome here, and Davos and Tormund in the background. Really, really, really neat scene.
Anything else about like Babe Ruth or anything like that?
Oh yeah, and Ghost was sleeping on the ground, I guess. I don't know if we have a. So here's some screenshots of this whole procedure. But when they all leave the room, they go to Ghost, who's just laying on the ground, and as soon as he kind of like, they're gone for a minute or so, and then Ghost like pops his head out, and I was like, oh, that's Ghost sleeping, and he gives the old Babe Ruth point with
calling his shot.
He's calling his shot. Ghost is like, you know what? Here he comes, and then sure enough, there's Jon Snow awakening,
the King of Crash,
the Sultan of SWAT,
Colossus of Cloud,
the Colossus of Cloud.
Yes.
Now, Abby, as this was going, did you expect it to actually, like, once Mel gave up, did you expect this?
When she first got in there, I was like, all right, sweet, here we go. And then as people leave, I'm kind of like, you're not giving enough time. Get back in here. And then when Davos walks away, I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Even Davos gave up on
it. And I was like, I'm not ready.
Idea.
I'm not really ready for this. They totally got me. Like, I had already given up. I was wrong. Like, he's dead. What the fuck now? And then it was Ghost. As soon as he like perks up, I'm like, hold on. And I definitely did a big jump when he breathed in. It was like one of those shock, like to your flashing to your screen. I was like, oh shit. But I'm happy. Glad he's alive.
All right. We missed anybody? Or has anybody got anything else?
Dire Poe wants to say something.
Poe? What do you think?
What do you think? You were in this episode with Ramsey and Fat Walda.
Not all the time do you get somebody that was in the episode is in studio.
We're just so lucky to have her.
Poe looks much better fed than those dogs.
Well, she is. She's fat. She's fat. She's fat. Dire Poe.
We have a fat neighbor that we fed her the other day.
Yeah,
she just had a baby.
She just had a baby. So.
Oh, that was so messed up. I wish I could see it. I can't see your guys' screen.
I was trying to get Drag Gunner in here too to show him off, but
I'm not trying to get my stupid dog in here. I mean, I love her.
Okay, but she's stupid. All right.
She's stupid.
Let's move on to episode title accuracy. So it was called Home. Is that correct or no?
Theon goes home.
Theon goes home?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 for 1.
Well, Bran sees Winterfell.
Yeah.
Bamson. There's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Cersei's back home.
Cersei's back home.
There you go.
After
Tommen's
the Walk
back
of
home
Shame.
with Cersei.
Yeah.
Kind of that family matters.
Mm-hmm.
John's
My
back
cellar
home
is home
with
and
Castle
dead.
Black.
Abby, what'd you say?
What's her name? Marcella.
Marcella.
She's back home and dead,
And
but
dead.
home.
And Benj, which one did you
And-
point out?
John, he's home at Castle Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Arya Stark, we're not sure what's happening next, but she may be going back over to the House of Black and White instead of being a homeless girl on the street.
So less
You're
homeless. Now
to a home.
go to a home.
Okay.
Euron came home.
Euron came home with a vengeance.
Ramsay killed his family at home.
And the cock twirler, he was actually born by that wall.
Yeah, so he's back.
Little known
he
fact.
dies at his home.
Little known
dies
fact.
at home
It's amazing what they can do.
while he's peeing.
While he's peeing, he peed on his home.
Okay. Let's go to description accuracy. Bran trains with the three-eyed raven. In King's Landing, Jaime advises Tommen.
Yep.
Tyrion demands good news, but has to make his own. At Castle Black, the Night's Watch stands behind Thorne. Ramsay Bolton proposes a plan.
Yeah, big enough.
I mean, I'd say so. I think those things mostly happened.
All right.
Mostly.
Okay, we are going to go to your least favorite thing. Let's start with Ben.
Bravos. I'm already bored with the beat up the blind chick shtick. I'm kind of glad that hopefully they're moving on from that. It's like, okay, we get it. She's blind. You're a bitch. Let's go.
All right, Luke.
The dragon sounds. They just for something about it. Listen back to it. once it got me off, I was like, I once it got me off track of the episode, I couldn't focus on that scene anymore, regardless of how good everything else is. I like Tyrion in that scene. I like the dragons acting in the scene is really well done. But the sounds, the audio is lackluster. I'll say
Lackluster. Good description.
that was my vocab word for the week.
Abby.
My least favorite thing is going to be Jamie's unfulfilled threat. I just don't like that he spoke it and then did nothing. That's not strength. There's somebody to be feared, right? I don't know. Come on, Jamie.
Come on, Jamie. Amanda?
Yep.
I wasn't a fan of the scene with the High Sparrow just because I hate the High Sparrow in the series. Like, I think the actor does a great job playing him and portraying him. He's just one of those characters that I just love to hate. And he kind of shows you how you can be pious to a fault. And I don't know. I just, every time that I see a scene with him, I just like, want to reach into the screen and just like, strangle the life out of him. So, I mean, I would have to say the High Sparrow, but it's just because I don't like him. But
Okay, my least favorite thing would probably be like the fact that Marcella, it's like her funeral or whatever, and like you barely even know that she's there.
No one really gives a shit.
Right. It's no one's really mourning. It seems, and I think we talked about earlier. Maybe it's like a consolidation, but still, it's like just mourn the death and like don't worry about other shit for now, and then deal with all that stuff later. But whatever.
Or say this is after the funeral. Now we're having this conversation. Wasn't that a lovely service? Just don't show us it at all instead of having conversations over her dead body. Dumb.
Right. All right. We're gonna go to the favorite thing. What was your favorite thing? Well, I'll start with this one. My favorite thing probably just like the last scene of John just like waking up, like almost like he was like underwater or something, and then like just like came above air. There's like his first that's what it sounded like, his first gasp after not being able to breathe for a while. It was just like pretty cool and like something that you were like hoping for, I guess. Not saying that I knew that was going to happen, but man, I hope something like that would happen just because you like John, and like it's almost they kept him around for something. Like they're not just gonna keep his body around just for a while.
His character is too big to fail.
All right, Amanda.
so my favorite thing, I would have to say 1-1 hitting that guy up on the side of the wall and just smashing the crap out of him. I that's probably the highlight of that episode for me. It was a really satisfying episode, though. There's like a lot of satisfying things that we got to see in this episode specifically. So you kind of get a good warm fuzzy feeling after watching it. But my favorite thing has got to be 1-1 smashing that guy on the wall. So.
Heck yeah. Take slam.
All right, Abby.
I'm gonna go with the Bran and what he sees, his visions. Actually getting to see him is exciting. But the possibilities that it opens up, like what he's seeing, actual events of the past. So that's a nice, useful tool. I'm just excited about what's going on up there. I need to scroll down. Luke probably has everything up north too, but sorry, Luke.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
No, I'm just kidding. You just love the north stuff or the whatever. But I liked that a lot. I think it's interesting.
Luke?
So I'm going to give a shout out to Davos convincing Mel to at least try. I thought that was really, really well done. But I'm going to agree with Abby. The Weirwood imagery that we had with Bran. I mean, Bran is the man, my favorite character, and I am so glad that after 12 episodes, it's a good return. And like seeing young Ned is really cool. Seeing Lyanna is really cool. Like just like these characters that we've heard about and have seen, it's interesting to see them in like, hey, this is what they were like growing up, and we get to see Willis with young Hodor, which is really really cool and really really well done scene.
And a not
I
so
like that
old
scene a lot.
Nan.
And just a regular Nan. She was just literally called Nan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did
Nan.
anybody catch that? They said,
Standard
"Oh,
Nan.
Nan."
Young Nan.
Middle-aged
Middle-aged
Nan.
Sure. All right, Ben.
The Mountain taking out the cock twirler. That 3-inch punch slam against the head. Just him turning around. And as Luke said, the captions read, "Urinating stops."
Urinating stops.
I just wham. It's just a perfect scene, perfect end for that douche.
For the
so
cock twirler. The
Cockadoosh.
whip dick.
Cockadoosh.
cockadoosh.
All right, we are going to go and talk about other podcasts. So there's a podcast out there, the podcast that must not be named. This podcast, they talk about Gryffindor. They talk about Slytherin. They talk about Hufflepuff. They talk about Ravenclaw. Basically the whole school of Hogwarts, Harry Potter and all the guys and girls and in the school.
The boys and ghouls.
Where are you guys at?
We just got to actually releasing today that we're recording this is Goblet of Fire chapter 12.
Goblet of Fire,
So
chapter
12
12
of 37. We're about a little past a quarter of the way through.
So they're a little past quarter of the way through. Doing pretty good. You can learn more at thepodcastthat.com. All right, we got our first time watcher on the wall predictions. Abby, take it away.
Super prepared over here, like normal. I feel like last week I predicted that John would survive, and he did.
Lo
And
and
then
behold.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And then I wish I would have saved it for this week, but that his duty or vow is upheld already to the Night's Watch, so he no longer has to be one. He gave his life.
Right, yeah, you
So
said that last week, yep.
I did, which stinks because I still think that's going to happen. Besides that, we have Theon going home on his own to where Pike, and I'm not exactly sure how far away it is.
It ain't
Just
close.
feel like it's not close. He's traveling alone.
He's got a horse. He asked, can I take one of the horses?
He does have a horse, maybe a little bit of resources. I just feel like there's a lot of Ramsay, unhinged Ramsay, manic Ramsay, and one little Theon. So I just fear that maybe being on his own was a bad choice, and that he will be captured by Ramsay again. So I'm gonna guess. I was a little confused about Yara or Asha. She wanted to be like the queen or whatever they would call her on Pike, and it seemed like that guy was kind of saying no. You'll have to earn it. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I'm guessing that her uncle, little brother of Balon, is going to be king of Pike or lord of Pike, I guess. And I'm not going to make a prediction. Sorry, I'm just going to ask a question for clarification. With the Weirwood and Bran, will he have these powers once he leaves that KV thing? Can it be like, do we know any of that
We don't.
yet? Okay. Because I feel like right now I have this feeling like that we know he can war into at least his dog.
The only thing
But
that
can
I'll
it-
say is we know that the three-eyed raven was going into Bran's dreams, which seems like it could potentially be a similar thing to this, right? Because he
Okay,
was
yeah.
walking around in those dreams like he is able to walk around in these, I guess call them Weirwood visions. So
Right.
I would say the only connection we could make is potentially there's something with that
Yeah.
whatever his third eye being opened up is, maybe that can transfer, but I don't really know what else we can speculate
Right.
from what we know right now. Yeah.
I just wonder, like, once he leaves, like, he doesn't possess these powers, but maybe any Weirwood tree, he would be able to kind of tap into it.
So he needs like an Ethernet link into the Weirwood net.
He needs the Wi-Fi password or whatever. I guess no, he actually Ethernet is way closer.
Used to Ethernet in.
Yeah, it actually has to be connected. And that this cave was important because maybe that's like the strongest hotspot or whatever, the strongest
It's
whatever.
The
and
like
that's
a hub.
Pokey Center.
yeah, where he can learn and hone these skills.
And
And
Weirwood
once he
fiber.
yes, and once he learns and hones them, then later on he'll be able to tap in at other trees, but not just in normal plain walking around. I don't know how you make that a prediction, but that's what I mean by
you're touching
it.
on a lot of really, really interesting topics that we can't really talk about yet.
Right.
But you're bringing up really good points, is what I'll say. Can
Thanks,
confirm
buddy.
They're good ideas.
I didn't sound like a moron. Success.
Never for
Wow.
once. Never
Sometimes.
for once.
Every now and then.
Jon Snow thinks it's a great idea.
Good job, Abs.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our house informations and all that good stuff. So we're gonna start with Crowfood's daughter of House Demuth.
Okay, so I've got house words. So you guys have this spreadsheet, and I had to fill this out, and I'm like, I don't have house words. So I had to come up with some stuff. So my house words is going to be always forward.
I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually the motto when I went to basic training way back in 1999. That was my unit's motto.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can hear my dire wolves in the back. Oh, she's angry too.
Reminiscent of the Robinsons,
Yeah.
the Disney movie.
Oh, there you go.
Keep moving forward.
Keep
Is
moving
that what
forward.
it is?
Yes. So my house sigil is going to be a gray king fighting a green man on sable. And my house sword is the foam death because I do have a foam sword at my house. And it is mine. It is not anybody else's, but it's my foam sword. Let's see. My house region is the mountains of the north. House religion is, of course, the drowned god. Horse name is Blue because that's the name of my husband's horse. And there you go. Yeah. And then, see, animal is going to be Lucky, my antisocial cat. Yes. And ancestral home is going to be Last Hearth. Hometown newspaper. I didn't even know what to write here. Modern Mountain Clans Weekly.
I think the newspaper has been one of the best consistent answers that we've got. That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you. I had no idea what to put. And I don't have a famous house ancestor. Our house minstrel is Becky the Ruthless. And as far as house bannermen, we have no house bannermen. We are a minor house, but proud.
Hey,
so
good on you.
Thank you.
Wear it with
Thank
pride.
you. Thank you. So.
And you got what's your Twitter?
Oh, so my Twitter handle is @crowfood. CROOF. I can't spell today. Crowfood_SD.
All right, thank you very much. All right,
Okay.
Are we for the rest? Are we doing everything? Or?
No, well, anything outside of the black box, just the main three and the new one.
Oh, okay.
That's what that big gold black box is.
That's what I thought. I was making sure. All right, my house name is Glenn of House Dog. House words: you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. House sigil is a Spuds McKenzie dog with a Wayne Gretzky number 99 jersey on. My house bannerman is House Charlie of Shell Use. And my Twitter is @PopsicleStan.
Shell Hughes.
Ben, go ahead.
I am Ben, aka Slav House McLean. House words are "It's dangerous to drink alone." House sigil is 3 gold triangles on a field of red and black. My house bannermen are the posseers, the ones you want to ride with. My Twitter is @SlyMcLean.
Luke?
I am Lucan of House Blackmead. Our house words are ours is the drink. Our house sigil is an obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background, like is on my shirt right now. And our house bannermen are House Karen of Night Song. My personal Twitter is @LucaFerocious. Final thought on this episode: it happened. Brand's back.
It happened. Brand's back.
Yeah.
Back again.
Okay.
Brand again.
Abby.
I am Gertie of House Condescension. My words are: we don't quit. We have our sigil has a raven sitting upon a black up-pointed chevron. Our bannerman is House Wahlberg of Wahlburger, and you can find me on Twitter @GoHomeGertie. Final thought: good smashing in this episode.
1-1
It
smash.
was a good smash.
1-1 smash.
Mountain smash.
A 1-1
Mountain
smash.
smash.
Lots of smashing.
All right. I guess before we move on, Amanda, we have this like at the end, like a little send off. So I don't know if do you have anything that you want?
I couldn't think of it.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Oh, you guys challenged me enough trying to come up with my
There are a lot.
hometown newspaper.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't think of anything.
Okay, that not a big deal. I was just making sure. So, anyways, to become a patron to get access to our epilogue episodes and T-shirts, mugs, and glassware in our seasonal merchandise clubs, learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary for all the ways you can help us keep our beer bank full. Check out the podcastthat.com/support us. A huge thank you to our special guest, Crowfood's daughter of House Demuth. Thank you for being on.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Join us again next episode, Season 6, Episode 3, Oathbreaker, with special guest Kev, a.k.a. Bridge 4. You can follow us on Twitter @KnowAndDrink. Send us a digital raven, knowanddraink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube. And until next time,
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
as always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming in. So am I.
As always, I don't have a saying.
And as always, stay imaginary.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right, so we do leave the live stream on just for a few minutes after this, just to wrap everything up. A special treat for the hanging out in the chat. So,
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us, Amanda. Was it
Yeah,
as
no
stressful as it seemed like this huge workbook might make it out to be?
Oh my gosh. I saw that. I was like, these people are so organized. I don't know how to get in. I don't
think
know what to do.
the first time anybody has ever grouped me in an organized statement. I mean, that's not specifically towards me, but the organization, I appreciate that. I'll take it.
Yeah,
It
if we were
is
more organized, this would be done
very
before,
good.
like 2 days before we actually record. But that's on me.
No, I thought that was great, and I loved what you guys do with the trivia with the answers. And
It took a
pressing
little
enter.
figuring
It's
out
really
how to make that work best for especially live. Like if it's just if we weren't
Yeah.
doing it live, we were just recording, be like, okay, well, what's your answer? What's your answer? What's your answer? But then it's like you could easily just like say
Cheat,
something
yeah.
else. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what I had. That's what I had.
Yeah.
But luckily, yeah, Google Sheets makes it pretty convenient to have everyone hit enter and have it show up exactly at the same time. So it's worked out pretty well.
That is so cool, and I totally guessed on that trivia question.
I guessed also. I knew it was like somewhere in like a 5 to 7
Right, the
range, but I
range.
was like, 7 is a good number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 7. That's
It's
the
the
only
simple
reason I
number.
did it.
Mm.
Yep, that's the only reason I picked it.
Ben, did you know it or?
I had a good feeling on it. I didn't specifically count them, but I remember, he was stabbed by 5 people. But I'm like, pretty sure there was something to do with 7. I'm hearing about it or thinking about it, so I went with that. It was a educated guess.
I could like see it in my mind, like where they did the shot over it, and I'm trying to count them. I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, there's one there, but
I was more thinking like, man, that's taking a long time to get that dried blood off of him, or like just like how easy it was at times. It was like, oh, she's like smearing it around, and then like another pass, it was like 3/4 gone, and like one more pass, he was like, he's also shaved, like like a little bit awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my other question was going to be like, okay, what are the steps that Melisandre takes when she does the resurrection or whatever
procedure?
But I was like,
that could be kind of
what do you
complicated.
count? Yeah, as a step.
She snips the hair twice. She snips the beard.
Right, like how
she washes his hair. She
cleans his
body.
fingernails. she does his toes.
it was also like the least thorough hair washing I've ever seen. It was terrible. The man's got thick hair. Like, you got to get in there, you know? Like, it's not even going to the scalp. It's just
Yeah,
you gotta
I
get
do
that
like
lather.
on some like interviews and stuff he gave after this season. He was like, I wasn't told I was actually coming back until like literally a month before filming. They're like, yeah, we're signing you this and that. Just don't cut your hair, you know. Just it's gonna play into something. So.
Yeah, Abby. So there was a big thing of Jon Snow hair watch between seasons 5 and 6 because he died at the end of 5, and it was like, oh, if he cuts his long hair, that's
Then
kind of
we'll
a
know.
tell that
He's really dead.
Right. So it was kind of a big thing in Twitteros of Jon Snow hair watch. It was
Well,
pretty
that's funny. They
funny.
should have let people. They should have let him cut it and then like have like a longer cut and give him extensions just to like throw people off that much more.
Yeah. Or if anything, film this scene, you know, at the end of recording the last season, and then let him cut his hair, you know.
Yeah, let her
Shave it
actually like
off.
shave his head, like get the clippers out and really go to town.
Right.
Wouldn't
And
all
like,
that
have you
burnt
ever
hair smell,
burned your
though?
hair on blowing out your birthday cakes? Man, that stuff stinks.
That's
All
what
those
I'm
people are
saying,
standing.
like, it would stink.
Yeah.
Like
It
bloody
would.
slugs is one thing. Burnt hair is like legitimately like
Ugh.
one of those things. You're like, wow, this smells awful. Like burnt hair.
It smells like burnt hair. Luke, God damn it! Why are we so alike? It's like we grew up together.
Oh man, it's just like that. It's exactly
Just
that.
kind of like that.
So Amanda, what would you say, like of all of the videos that you've done, like recently, like what's sticking with you most right now? What are you most intrigued with? And I guess I get careful on spoilers if that applies or anything, but
You mean as far as the book series, or just
like just what
because that's
you're
what I
working
focus on normally. Yeah. Well, I'm very interested in the maps. People, if you watch my videos, you'll probably see me using the maps fairly frequently. And so I enjoy looking at the maps and trying to figure out things that maybe that were being hinted, and even maybe some things that we should be looking at.
Yeah.
So I do videos on that, and I do a lot of videos that deal with the history of legends and myths in A Song of Ice and Fire. And so I've had a requested video to do. I've spoken about Christopher IV and Eric the Kinslayer in the past, and so probably going to do a video on that.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Naga's ribs video. It's one of your first ones, I believe.
Yeah, it's an early one.
It's good. Like if anyone out there is looking to kind of see the angle that Amanda's going for, I feel like that's a decent segue. Again, sorry for all the bridge talk, but a good bridge into what you've got going there. I
Is
enjoy
it
it a lot.
structural bridge or a rope bridge or what kind of bridge?
There was a lot more bridge talk than I expected.
Bridges.
Not enough cantilevers.
Is it over troubled water?
All right, Simon.
All right. Anything
Yeah.
else?
I have to go. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again for being here, Amanda. And on such
thanks for
short
having me.
notice, a couple months ago.
Yeah, I know. I was like really excited too to get invited to a TV show podcast because I normally just talk about the series, so it's kind of fun.
Well,
Thank
we're
you.
glad you
Yeah.
it was enjoyable for you. It's we try to be real
Absolutely.
easy, casual, just have fun with it, and different
Yeah, and
perspectives
this-
are always welcome for sure.
Yeah, and this was a great episode too. So
It was a great
very nice
episode
to
too.
Episode
revisit.
two.
It was
One
an
of the best
episode.
episode 2s of any season.
It's one of the best episodes 2 ever.
It was in the top
But,
7 right now.
No, but it was a really good episode, so it kind of made it even better. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Cheers. We appreciate it. I'm gonna kill the stream now.